Generation Z, are you Gen Z? Or do you have children that are a part of that generation? Now, this is the generation, if I'm correct, born 1998 to 2012, give or take a couple of years. And this is the generation who does not like the idea of working a 9 to 5. I'm not saying it's all of them, but they've definitely got videos online, specifically TikTok, where the older ones, like born in the late, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, they're all adults now, and they feel the pay coming out of college that these jobs are offering is not enough. They feel like there should be more, I guess, based on, lifestyle wishes. And so they're just not feeling the whole 9 to 5, work for 40 years, I guess retire between the ages of 65 and 70, and then that's it. But they're not going along with that. And so then you got older people who are the generations before them, in particular, the non-millennials, Generation X and baby boomers, who feel they're entitled and that they want too much too soon without having worked for it. And that's their stance on it. Gen Z is feeling like, hey, we need more cost of living, the way things are now. And so they aren't really cool with that whole 9 to 5, getting up, get there, clock in, clock out. They're looking for a different way. Some of them obviously want to be influencers or streamers online. That's another form of income. But as far as the 9 to 5 goes, they just don't feel, I think, that they pay enough starting out the gate. Maybe if they did, maybe Generation Z would be speaking differently on them. But I found this site where it's given 7 reasons why Generation Z is not dealing with the 9 to 5 work anymore, why they're against it. In this article, the website is smallbusinessonline.com for anyone who wants to know. And I'm going to go through the 7 reasons with you all. And, you let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. And if you're Generation Z or you're one of the generations before them that's still in the workforce, that would be millennials. That's my generation, Generation X, and the baby boomers. And there may still be a couple of silent generation people still out there too, born before 1946. But other than that, let me get to the 7 reasons why Generation Z is not feeling the whole 9 to 5 work relationship. So number 1, they're saying work-life balance matters now more than ever. And the reasons for that, work isn't just about making a paycheck, they're saying, for Gen Z. It's about creating a life that feels fulfilling and balanced. Unlike previous generations, they're less willing to give up their well-being for a stable job with a predictable schedule, 9 to 5, whatever the case, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's different shifts. And it says the rise of remote work and freelancing has shown them that there are other ways to earn money without being tied into an office building, sitting inside a cubicle. And so they want flexibility, they want to be able to travel, and they want time for personal growth. And if a job doesn't allow that, they're more likely to walk away. That's reason number 1, work-life balance matters more than ever. Again, the website, if you want to check it out, it's smallbusinessonfire.com. That's smallbusinessonfire.com. So let me go to the next one. All right, let me scroll down. Give me 1 second. Okay, number 2. They've seen traditional jobs fail their parents. So the reasons under that is, I remember watching my parents work long hours at jobs, and I was just talking about this, that didn't seem to love them back. You hear the whole narrative about corporations can dismiss you at the drop of a hat. Everyone's just a number. We're expendable. So there's no loyalty. So they talk about that. They said my dad spent decades at the same company, only to be laid off right before retirement. My mom juggled multiple jobs, side gigs just to make ends meet. Neither of them had the work-life balance or financial security they were promised when they started their careers. And so Gen Z has grown up seeing stories like these everywhere. They watch their parents burn out, struggle with money, and then get let go from the jobs they gave their lives to. In Gen Z, that's reason number 2 why they're saying they're not with the whole 9 to 5 job thing. Let me go down to reason number 3. We're going to get through all of these. Reason number 3. They value passion over paychecks, from what this website is reporting. For Generation Z, a job isn't just a way to pay the bills. It's an extension of their identity. They want work that aligns with their values, challenges them creatively, and makes a real impact. And it says 75% of Gen Z people who are in the workforce now say they would take a pay cut to do meaningful work. So that's a big 360 from people wanting to make as much money as they can. All right. And then they're saying this doesn't mean that they don't care about money. I'm pretty sure they care about money. It just means they're not willing to sacrifice passion for a paycheck. So I guess they want something with substance. They'd rather build a career that excites them than settle for stability in a job that they don't really care about. Okay, so that's reason number 3. Number 4, they don't want to be chained to a desk, a cubicle. They don't want sit down, chair, desk, and it kind of almost resembles a classroom with all of the cubicles lined up and everybody having to, watch their noise level. So for Generation Z, the idea of sitting in the same office building at the same desk for 8 hours a day, they say feels outdated. They've grown up in a digital world, and yes, they have, where work can happen from anywhere, whether it's a coffee shop, a co-working space, or even another country. So technology has made it easier than ever to collaborate remotely, and Generation Z knows this, and they see no reason why productivity should be tied to a physical desk, because when so many jobs can be done effectively from anywhere on a laptop. So these are the points. And then for small business owners, it says offering remote or hybrid work options isn't just a perk, it's becoming a necessity if you want to hire the next generation of people, coming out of school, the younger generation. Let me go to number 5. They won't tolerate toxic work cultures, okay? So let's see. They won't tolerate toxic work cultures. So a job shouldn't feel like a constant source of stress, but for too many people, it does. Being overworked, undervalued, or stuck in a company where leadership ignores problems can drain even the most motivated employees. So it's exhausting to wake up every day dreading what's ahead, making that commute into the office, knowing that no matter how hard you work, nothing will change. There won't be any type of switching of, the way things are being done. Generation Z isn't willing to put up with that. They prioritize mental health and well-being. And if the workplace feels toxic, they won't stick around hoping things get better. They'll leave that job. So let's continue on. And it's more underneath these reasons. I'm just giving a shorter version. Here's reason number 6. They're redefining success, they say about Generation Z. So for previous generations, success often meant climbing the corporate ladder. Promotion, get this title, make this amount of money. for Generation Z, and also buying a house and retiring with a solid pension, 401k. Those are the American dream and the goals. Get a mortgage, things like that. But for Generation C, success looks different. It's not just about job titles or how much money you make. It's about freedom, fulfillment, and having control over their own time. So time is real important to, I think, everybody. But they're saying Generation Z is really prioritizing, time and well-being and work-life balance. So many are choosing to freelance. I guess you can throw that under the gig economy, not just doing Uber Eats and DoorDash, Instacart, things like that, but just where they become like contract workers. They make their own hours. You pay them to do this for this amount of time, and then it's on to the next one. They don't have a supervisor, and they become 1099 people. And that may be the wave of the future. We'll see. Let me continue. Many choosing to freelance, start their own businesses, or work multiple jobs that align with their interests. So they get different streams of income from doing jobs that they actually like, instead of committing to one traditional career path and stay there, like I said, for 40 years. They see flexibility as a key marker of success, not just financial stability. So they want the money and the balance, and they want those two to balance each other out. And so for small business owners, it says this shift means offering more than just promotions and pay raises to keep Generation Z engaged and to stick around. So now I'm going to the seventh and final reason why Generation Z is not with the traditional 9 to 5. They know there are other options. The biggest reason Gen Z is leaving the 9 to 5, they don't have to stay. Previous generations often stuck with jobs even when they didn't like them because that was the norm. And children to raise, bills to pay, and they didn't see any other way out. So just trained and conditioned to stay right here and make it to the end, and then just retire, relax, and that's it. And so, but Generation Z has grown up watching influencers on YouTube, etc., you name it. Freelancers and entrepreneurs build careers on their own terms. So they've taken back control. They know it's possible to make a living without following a traditional path, and they're not afraid to take risks to find something better. So they say for small business owners, this means that offering a job isn't enough. If the work feels meaningless, the culture is toxic, or the schedule is too restrictive, then the Generation Z employees will move on because they know they can. And so those are the 7 reasons Gen Z is not just tied to the 9 to 5. And I want to also do this last part. It says the future of working is changing. Work as we know it is evolving. Generation Z isn't rejecting the 9 to 5. They're redefining what a career should look like. Flexibility, purpose, and well-being aren't just perks to them. They're expectations. And the shift is coming. And some say it's already here. And the expectations, I know some of the older generations are getting on Gen Z saying they're too entitled. But, this article makes good points about why they don't want to stick with the traditional 9 to 5. And so, I can't really fault them for that. And when they talked about the future of work is changing, Anton Daniels on his YouTube channel talked about full-time jobs becoming luxuries in the future, maybe within the next, let's say, 5 years, 2030. And so that actually becomes the case where a lot of people become what they call the gig workers, where you're just doing Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, things like that. And full-time job with benefits, Anton was saying, would become a luxury then you look at Generation Z's attitude towards these same full-time jobs, and now it looks like they're onto something. Because basically, I think what Anton is saying is there just won't be enough full-time jobs to go around. It'll just be something that's no longer just expected anymore once you complete college or whatever the case may be. Now it's just something that you may have to pull some strings to get, be lucky to get. It's no longer a guarantee. And so Generation Z, looking at other options and not just sticking around, they more so fall into probably being more prepared if full-time jobs with benefits do become luxuries. And they're saying, hey, okay, the job landscape is changing. We not sticking around. The jobs aren't there, or the ones that are there aren't paying enough, and they're not loyal to us. And so they're just trying to cover their own backs. And, this is where Generation Z sees themselves, and it'll probably only evolve into more of that way of thinking as we get to Generation Alpha, once they become old enough to start earning a living. They're too young right now, but they come after Z. So I don't think it's a trend that we're seeing. It's definitely a lifestyle change. This isn't the first dialogue I've had about this. I've heard other conversations where even Gen Xers are saying, hey, Gen Z, and a lot of these Gen Xers, have Gen Z children, so they probably had some one-on-one conversations where I've heard Gen X parents say, hey, these younger people, they're not going for sitting at the same job for 40 years. That they're over that. They finding other ways. They're not about to just be sitting at a desk. And, they're the future of the workforce. I mean, eventually other people do have to retire, or they end up, passing away. And then positions have to be filled. Duties still have to get done. And Generation Z will be what's left. And so companies, or maybe that even changes and you're not even working for a company, like you doing the freelancing where, like I said, you just contracting. You're a 1099 person. I know how to do this and that. Okay, we'll do it here. I'm done, and then I'm out. I'm not your employee. You're not giving me a yearly review, things like that. That could be over. Not in 2025, but, going into 2030. And as far as what Anton Daniels talked about on his YouTube channel, the possibility of full-time jobs with benefits being luxuries, there'll be a select few people who actually apply and do those positions, whatever artificial intelligence hasn't already taken. But a lot of stuff is going to change, and it's already here. We've already seen the seeds planted for it. And I guess Generation Z just has a survival attitude in terms of, hey, we've seen the writing on the wall, and we don't want to get caught out, without any protection, get left out in the cold. So this is the way we're realigning ourselves with our skill set and how we want to approach making a living and paying our bills. The same goals that matter to you about getting this house with a picket fence and 2.5 kids. The 0.5, I think, is usually the pet. And then retire with your 401k. I mean, that's all probably thrown in there in some way, maybe not in that order. The whole marriage and being a parent, priorities are shifting based on lifestyle change and cost of living increasing. Certain things Gen Z may just not, and even millennials to a certain extent, may not prioritize anymore in terms of marriage and being parents. There are articles online right now of a lot of millennials doing what's called DINK, or DINK is an acronym for double income, no kids. So these are people who are in relationships. From the stories I've seen, they might be dating, they might be married, they're maxing out their 401ks, so they can retire by the time they get into their 40s with both incomes versus having to work until they're 60 something. They've decided on no children because they say children cost money. And I've said in previous videos, listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins on YouTube, that since the inflation that's here right now, the average cost to raise one child with just the necessities, nothing extra, no extra toys, just what they need from when they're born to the age of 18, is now $318,000. That's just for one child. So that's where we're at with it. And a lot of people are looking at the numbers, the statistics out here, and how they're trying to survive. And so you get the double income, no kids, and then, Generation Z, that's a whole nother, beast right there in terms of how they're going to move. And as far as families go, marriage, all of that, they want the balance. They don't want anyone breathing down their neck, and they want the freedom. And, they're trying to start their own movement here, it looks like, where they kind of, dictate the pace of their career. And so it's definitely something that, has to be looked at. We can't shy away from it and just wave Generation Z off. That is a whole generation, and it's lots of them. And so they can't be ignored. They are here. And so if you're a small business owner or you part of a large corporation and how you want to hire, I think it's definitely good to look at these trends in terms of the type of employee that you're getting. Or like I said, you might not be getting an employee, you're getting a contractor who is just doing this duty for you, and then they're out. They don't work for your company. They're not getting a W-2 from you. It's just pay as you go. And they can, you can pay each month for your own medical and dental and vision benefits the same way a company does. You just pay into that as an individual plan. And then you have the medical coverage you need throughout the year. So that's not stopping Generation Z from not wanting to steer away from the whole 9 to 5 just because of the whole benefits thing, So, they're definitely sharing the same thoughts, same sentiments, and they're united in terms of, what they feel they deserve, what they want, as they continue to be the future of the earth, the world. Gen Z here in the United States, Gen Z around the world. It's a lot of them born in that age range. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting just to see how the corporate world and careers evolve, if full-time jobs with benefits become a luxury, not a guarantee, should I say. And we'll be here for the ride to watch. And like I said, if you are a Gen Z, or if you are a parent with Gen Z children, it's definitely something to be on the lookout for. The Gen Z people who are part of that generation are probably, like I said, already aware and already thinking in that term. As far as the parents of Gen Zers, I think it's good to understand these type of articles. So when you have that conversation with your Gen Z child about their future and why they may say things that don't sound traditional, this is have to try and build, I guess, some type of get to some type of even ground, to where, okay, you my child, I love you, but you also want them to be in a position where they're going to make an income, where they can stand on their own 2 feet and be adults in this economy, or what's left of it in this society, while figuring in artificial intelligence, gig jobs, layoffs, cost of living increasing. You have to take all of that into consideration. And so it might be a hard conversation to have with your Gen Z child, but it has to be had for all of my parents of Gen Zers. Have an open mind once you do talk to them, and just see what you all can do to plan, They may not even want to go to traditional education. They may like, hey, there's no reason for me to go to college. I think one good thing that any parents could start doing is just to start saving if you can from day one when they're born. So there is a nest egg there when your Gen Zer is 18, and children in particular. And so that money can be used either towards the university if they want to go major in something, or if we that's going to be seed money for starting some type of business that's practical. So definitely different things to consider here in terms of your child's future if they're Gen Z. I'm millennial, and some say this kind of all started with my generation, not in a major way, but there were certain millennials that just said, hey, I'm through with working for other people. I want to be my own boss. And then that whole sentiment has gotten much louder as we've gotten to Gen Z, and they just taking the baton and they just running with it even farther at this point. So, that this is a generation that I look at, the Generation Z, they're not scared. Now, some of the ones that you may see out here getting in trouble, their energy is probably just in the wrong direction. It's not being guided. But this generation, they're not scared at this particular point in time of anything. They're a very fearless generation. I'm not going to say they're 100% fearless, but their attitude towards things and them already being raised in a digital world and how things connect and how they can use technology to their benefit and for it to be convenient for them, I think that just, pushes their argument even further in terms of how they want to make money and why they're not scared to go out here and take risks. It's just how they are and what it is. And some of them are roommates. They bring in income together until they all reach their end goal. So they're definitely making themselves a force to be reckoned with as they continue to get older and they become, well, they're already the youngest out here in the workforce, but also the ones that may actually transform it. So that's something to keep in mind. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you Gen Z? Are you parents of Gen Z? Do you agree or disagree with their reasons for not wanting to work the 9 to 5? If you're a Gen Z parent, what are you doing to try and help your child, make their way into this society and actually make a living? If they align with the whole Gen Z attitude of, hey, this 9 to 5, I can't do that. If you're Gen Z right now, did your parents work with you, or did they just say, hey, you're on your own? How are things working out for you as you navigate the economy here in the United States and the rest of the world, or wherever you're growing up or have grown up as part of Generation Z? Let me know down in the comments. And I think this conversation is going to continue to happen. It's going to evolve as time goes on, since Gen Z is not going anywhere and baby boomers will be retiring, maybe later than usual for some because of this economy, but that's where we're at. And then we also keep an eye on Social Security, if it'll even be there for my generation. If it won't be there for millennials, it definitely won't be there for Generation Z. So again, you can add that to Gen Z's mindset of, not dependent on the traditional 9 to 5. And, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. And hold on. The website is called smallbusinessonfire.com. I think I said it wrong earlier in the video. I'm just making sure I got it. Small Business Bonfire. Not on fire, bonfire. bonfire.com. smallbusinessbonfire.com. That's where you can check out this article. It's dated February 20th, 2025, about why Gen Z, 7 reasons they're not doing the traditional jobs anymore. So that's smallbusinessbonfire.com if anybody wants to Check out the article. It's called 7 Reasons Gen Z is Ditching the 9-to-5 Lifestyle and What It Means for Small Businesses. So if you all want to check it out and read more, it's more that I didn't get to, but I just wanted to cover, the general area. So, yep. Small business, bonfire.com. The channel is Facts or Feelings, all one word, no spaces. Type that into the chat in YouTube search, Facts or Feelings, no spaces, and my channel comes right up. So again, like, share, and subscribe. Get this video out there, and let me know what you guys think in the comments about the future of the workforce as Gen Z, comes out swinging. Until next time, I'm out.